technical issues there, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies, my apologies. Anyway, good evening po sa inyong lahat. Welcome back to Lira and Law on a Thursday evening in December. I can't believe it. So, Christmas na naman. Ang bilis-bilis ng panahon, ano? I think it's age also. No, I don't remember that time has gone as quickly as it has over the last, siguro na 10 years, no? It's been astonishingly fast. Too fast. But anyway, welcome back welcome to Lira and Law on this Thursday evening. Our usual get-together nga between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday, I was going to say Thursday afternoon, but of course not Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday evening. Today's the, ang pecha nga ngayon? Is it the 9th? Ang pecha nga ngayon? 12th, actually 12th. Bukas Friday the 13th. I'm running a week behind. It's been really busy, and for those of you with immigration issues especially, you probably know where I'm coming from. It's been a very busy year. It's been actually quite an eventful, challenging year for a lot of people, especially in the areas now of immigration and family law. It's just been one of those years. Not all bad, but it's been challenging. Challenging. But anyway, so thank you very much for joining me. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. I have been qualified, post-qualification experience, which means nga na not excluding studies, excluding training nga, I have been qualified for nearly 33 years. I think 33 years ako nitong February 2025. So my 33rd year anniversary is coming up. Post-qualification nga. If you count training and of course the studies nga, then I am nearly 40 years in law. So I've been doing this nga a long time, and I've seen quite a few changes, quite a lot of changes actually, especially in the areas now of immigration and of course family law. And as usual po, tonight we will be discussing issues that concern you most, no? And salamat po for sending me your questions nga, mga comments nyo. Always appreciated. And yung mga question nyo, and as I say, as usual, we're going to choose a question from the viewers who've sent them in. And you will get some serious bragging rights. And tonight is no exception nga. Ang topic natin tonight is of course from one of our viewers nga. So let me just read it to you. Okay, sandali nga lang. Let me just see if I can find it. I've had a few technical issues, so I'm hoping I don't suddenly cut you off suddenly. Let me just have a look here. So okay, so sabi nga niya dito, I'm currently processing my divorce here in the UK. I got married in the Philippines, but have never been to the United Kingdom. I'll come back to that, because that may be an error, but in any event, we'll deal with it. We've had no contact for almost 7 years. This August, I reached out to my husband to begin the divorce process, but he refused to cooperate. Now I'm facing difficulties with the D11. Again, I'm going to show you that, okay? And the D13B forms, no? What are the possible things that I can do? Now, thank you very much for this question. And as I say, serious bragging rights to you. No? Salamat po. Titingnan po natin, we're going to go through divorce, issuing divorce after April 2022. Dahil nagbago nga ang batas, or mainly the process. And actually yung batas nga, from that day, just quickly nga, what's the process nga, but more importantly, ang problema nga dito, anong kailangan yung gawin kung nagpetisyon nga kayo ng divorce, nagpasok kayo ng application, pero yung asawa nyo, na sabihin natin nasa Pilipinas, dahil doon nga kayo kinasal, hindi sumasagot. O sumagot, tapos wala na siyang pakialam, sabi niya. O tinawagan kayo, sabi niya, no, hindi ako papayag, for whatever reason. Okay? Distinguish that also from kung ang kaso hindi nyo nga alam kung nasaan siya. Hindi nyo din alam kung buhay pa siya, let's say, no? So the two things na titingnan nga natin, hence the reference to the D11 form and the D13B form, the D13 form is an application for deemed service, and an application also, this is different, yeah? An application to dispense with service. Okay, the two are quite different types of applications. When do you need to do which one? And also I'm going to show you the forms and what's nga the process for that. Okay, and then pagka natapos na yon and you get, say, a positive reply from the court, your application is granted, ano na kailangan mangyari. So it's but that is really where a lot of people have problems. The starting is not a problem, the ending is also not the problem, it's the middle bit, no, that's often the problem. So kung hindi nga siya sumasagot o hindi niya alam kung nasa nga siya o sumagot siya pero ayaw niya, no, he's not cooperating. Yung nga sabi ng viewer nga natin dito, no contact for almost 7 years, but no, I don't know why I'm saying she, but I'm making that assumption nga. This August nga, in the summer, she reached out to, oh no, of course, you reached out to the husband to begin the divorce process nga, but he's refusing to cooperate. In that case, what you have to do, and also, of course, we're going to touch on the fact that they were married in the Philippines, but she wants to issue a divorce nga in the United Kingdom. Alam ko, that's always a very popular topic because alam niyo naman, there's no divorce in the Philippines. So we're also going to touch on that big topic. And it's a great topic because this is one that perhaps I don't pay enough attention to, because this really, itong proseso nga ito, the middle bit is often where people have difficulties. And of course, kailangan, in order to finish it, you need to be able to not just deal with the beginning, but you also the middle and the end. No? So yun ang titingnan nga natin. Pero hindi nga lang yung topic natin ngayon. And it's what I like about yung about our friends and viewers nga is your questions cover a whole load of potential of subjects nga. So ngayon titingnan natin fixed penalty notice, applications for brothers and or sisters nga, siblings to enter the United Kingdom. We're also going to be looking at yung nga, divorce, of course, no? We have quite a lot of questions also. And again, salamat po for posing those questions. And kung meron nga kayong questions now, no, nanonood nga kayo, and you say, oh yeah, actually, I was wondering about this. Post it, no? Or at least batiin nyo ko. As you know, meron tayong batian section nga mamaya, and hopefully nga, we'll be able to also have people saying hello. Alam niyo naman, paborito ko yun, no? So it's promising to be a very interesting and impactful evening nga. So yung topic nga natin, as I say, is divorce and an uncooperative spouse. So hindi nga, they're not cooperating. Anong kailangan nyo gawin? And as I say, serious bragging rights to the viewer that posed nga the question. So, ang gagawin nga natin, we're going to unpack that question, and where I can, I'm going to discuss nga, okay, ano bang proseso, okay? So, hopefully you enjoy it. I always enjoy, relaying information nga, and I always enjoy being with you on a Thursday evening, especially po batian. So if you want to say hello, do post comments, okay? Now, we're going to just take a very quick break, saglit nga lang po, and then we're coming back and launch into our big topic, all right? See you soon. Hello, welcome back po. Welcome back to all of you on the Thursday evening. Thank you. Welcome to Lira in Law. I'm your host, Lira of Douglas Simon Solicitors. We're a firm in the United Kingdom, in London, Greater London, in Richmond. And thank you very much for joining me, on a Thursday, rainy evening. Tsaka lamig na. And I hope you're getting ready for Christmas. And I hope you have a few days break. it's nice to actually just be able to kind of chill over the at least a few days now over the Christmas period. So I have not done any of my shopping, not even one. Okay? So I hope that you're not as bad as me. Anyway, so without further ado, we're going to launch nga into our topic. Ang topic po natin nga, as I say, is divorce and an uncooperative spouse. And thank you very much for the viewer nga who sent this this question. So let me just unpack the question nga. So she's processing her divorce in the United Kingdom. Now, sabi nga niya, I got married in the Philippines. Okay, nasa nga siya sa Pilipinas, but have never been to the UK. So I think that may be slight error nga, no? So it could be na yung asawa niya, nandito siya, pa yung asawa niya nasa Pilipinas, I would imagine. So that she may have meant nga, but that her husband has never been to the United Kingdom. So yung asawa niya na kinasal sila sa Pilipinas, dito nga siya, yung asawa niya sa Pilipinas pa rin, hindi pa siya napupunta sa United Kingdom ever. No? We've not had contact for almost 7 years. Okay? This August, I reached out to my husband to begin the divorce process, but he refused to cooperate. It happens. Yung niya, sabi niya, now I'm facing difficulties with this form called D11 and D13B. They're very confusing forms. What are the possible things that I can do? So, ang topic po natin, as I say, is divorce and an uncooperative spouse. So, yun. So, ang problema nga, kinasal sila sa atin. So, valid ba yung kasal nila sa atin? The answer is yes. No? Then, she wants to obtain the divorce in the United Kingdom. Is that possible? The answer is yes, more likely than not. But I'll touch I'll touch on that issue a little bit more. You know? And if she petitions for divorce nga in the United Kingdom, she applies for divorce in the United Kingdom, and he won't cooperate, anong kailangan niyang gawin? You know? So yung pag-uusapan po natin. Now, unang-una, yeah, tama kayo. Kung nasa Pilipinas nga kayo, there's no divorce in the Philippines. That remains to be the case. I know that only second time I think it's second time in history actually. There's a bill, no, that's gone up, and hopefully nga it's considered. But there's a bill going up that may allow divorce nga in the Philippines. But at the moment, wala po. So kung nandun kayo sa Pilipinas, there's no divorce. There's judicial separation, for example, other things potentially nga, but not divorce in the same way as the United Kingdom. Pero kung nandito kayo, so sabihin natin, doon kayo kinasal sa atin, you left the Philippines to come into the United Kingdom, and in the United Kingdom, you are then, let's say you are working, no? Dito na kayo nakatira. Matagal na nga kayo dito. In our viewers' case, no contact for almost 7 years. Siguro nandito siya for at least 7 years, maybe even longer than that nga. Now, she wants now to petition for divorce dahil matagal na nga silang wala, and maybe she also wants to start remarry, for example, have a relationship with someone else. At saka yung asawa niya na nasa Pilipinas, it could be that he also wants to end the marriage nga formally. Now, pag-uusapan po natin United Kingdom, of course. So, unang-una nga, o pangalawa, so is the marriage valid nga in the Philippines, even though nandito nga kayo? The answer is yes, because the marriage would have followed the marriage requirements nga to make it a formal marriage, and that would be recognized by United Kingdom. Yun ang una. Now, nandito siya, no? And can she then petition for divorce even though doon kayo kinasal sa atin at saka yung asawa niya nandoon pa? No? Now, yes is the answer if the court here has what's called jurisdiction. No? Now, can they look at a divorce that where the marriage has taken place in the Philippines at saka nandun pa rin yung respondent nga? The answer is they can if you are habitually resident or indeed domiciled in the United Kingdom. No? Now, kung yun ang sitwasyon, nandito ka nga, then yes, you can petition for divorce. Now, so inumpisa mo na sigurong proseso, no? So you petition for divorce, likely that was done online. Most petitions now are done, will be done online. If you have representatives, it must be done online. If you're acting in person, then you have the possibility of paper divorce nga, but most of the time it's frankly easier to issue divorce proceedings nga online. But that just means it's computerized rather than getting the paper, completing the paper, and then paperwork and then sending that off. It's faster to do it nga online. Of course, to do that online, kailangan mo ng email dun sa asawa mo. Now, so you got so far as making the application. So nagpasok ka na ng application for divorce. Now, in August, tinawag mo siguro siya, sabi mo, okay, inumpisan ko na to, can you sign the documents when the court sends it to you? Yun siguro sinabi mo sa kanya, no? So, ang sagot niya sa'yo, no, hindi ako papayag. Or, sabi mo dito, but he refused to cooperate. Or, maybe, sabi niya, well, tingnan ko. Tapos, wala naman siyang ginagawa, no? To continue with the petition, to continue nga with the divorce, then you need to ask the court for permission, essentially, no, to be able to continue. Kahit hindi nga pa siya, hindi siya gumagalaw. No? Anong kailangan mong gawin? So the formal process is this form called D11 or D13B. Now, the two are quite different. Papakita ko sa inyo ang itsura, okay? Let me just see if I can find nga the D11, which is the applications. Yeah, yan ang itsura. It's a few pages, so let me scroll down. Tingnan mo. So at the very top, makikita yung application notice, okay? Let me just see if I can scroll down, makita niyo yung ibang pages, no? So it goes on. I mean, it's not so long. I mean, frankly, I've seen far longer forms, no? So itong itsura. It's a few pages long, goes on. So then, of course, you have the usual section where you need to sign, yung address nyo nga, no, how you contacted, ganon. There's a court fee. I think it's £50 still. That's the court fee. So hindi naman ganong mahaba. As I say, I've seen far longer documents in family proceedings nga. Now, that is called a D11. It's an application, basically. No, it's an application form. Yun ang kailangan mo for what's called deemed service. Now, let me just explain that a little bit more. Kung alam mo kung nasaan siya, kinontak mo nga siya. Sabi niya, hindi ako sasagot. O I don't want anything to do with this nga. Pero nakuha na nga niya yung petition. Hindi nga lang niya, ayaw nga lang niyang sumagot. No? But you served the documents on him already. He's just being difficult for whatever reason. Then ang kailangan mong ipasok, itong D11. That's application. Ang application po is what's called application for deemed service. And it means exactly that. So, you're saying to the court, nakuha na niya yung dokumento, no? And so I want to be able to continue. So please, court, can you make an order that he has been deemed to have been served? Nakuha na niya, no? Yun. So that's a deemed service application. That's what you're asking for, an order for deemed service. Now, anong kailangan nyo idagdag? Hindi lang yung form ang kailangan nyo ipasok. Not just the D11. You need also a statement in support of the application. The application nga lang yun, ano? So that's documents in support. So, sabihin natin, this is something, tip ko, no? Kung alam nyo kung nasaan nga siya, so alam nyo hindi siya papayag, let's say, it's still worthwhile making contact with them, at least by email or by phone even. Okay? So, kung nagtawagan nga kayo, tinawagan mo siya, so sabi mo sa kanya, gusto, inumpisan ko na to. Pagka nakuha mo yung dokumento, pwede ba na sagutin mo yung korte? No? Kung sabihin niya sa'yo, hindi ako sasagot. Bakit pa ako sasagot? Wala akong pakailan. No? Tapos binaba yung telepono sa inyo. Make a note, tip ko make a note of the time, the date, okay, and what was said. Dahil ito pagka nagpasok ka ng application for deemed service, kailangan mong ebidensya na talagang nakuha na nga niya. So yung statement mo, sasabihin mo doon on so-and-so date, so anong petsa na nga yun? 12th of December. On the 12th of December 2024, I telephoned the respondent. I advised him that I've issued an application for divorce, and to warn him that this will be emailed by the court, and if he would consider it and if he's in agreement to sign it. In reply, the respondent said that even if I received this document, or I've received the document, could even be, no, even better, no, I've received the document, I'm not going to agree to this. I have nothing to do with this. You can go to, sometimes they do that, no, then ilagay nyo din yun sa statement, no? So, and then end with, clearly, the above means that he received my petition for divorce, but he's simply choosing not to cooperate for reasons known to him. Now, kung pwede, dagdagan nyo pa, no? Anything else that, so for example nga, sabihin natin nakatira siya sa nanay o tatay niya, no? And silang sumagot ng una, no? And then they say to you, oh yeah, no, sabi nga nung, sabi niya nasa kanya na, papasa ko yung telepono sa kanya. Kung yun, also add that, no? It was confirmed to me that the documents were in fact my petition for, my application for divorce was in fact received, not only by the respondent himself, but also by his mother, who initially picked up the phone, for example, okay? O kung nag-email nga kayo, no? So so you may have emailed him to say, oh, did you actually receive the petition for divorce? When you send your email, alam niyo kung nagpapadala, especially those of you like me, no, we send a lot of emails nga. It's not conclusive evidence, but it is again indicative that he's received it. Alam niyo, you can tick the box that says no, read receipt, okay, or delivered receipt. Yeah, you can tick both boxes, and then you can also send that to the court. Makikita nila, okay, on so and so date, binuksan niya yung email, and he even read the email. Yun, okay? Or even better, kung sumagot siya sa'yo, sabihin natin nag-email ka, sumagot siya, sabi niya, go away, or something, words to that effect, no? You can even include that. So yung application for deemed service on using the application form D11 is to really say to the court, can I proceed anyway? Then nakuha niya. He please make an order that he has received, he's deemed to have received the petition. No? And this is my statement nga in support, and any documents again in support. Hindi nga to basta-basta. The court would want to be satisfied na talagang pinadala nga siya. No? And where the court has sent it rather than you can also send, I was informed by the court that the document were sent to him by email on so-and-so date. No? So it's for you to prove na talagang nakuha nga niya. Kung nakuha niya, so pinadala nyo, nakuha nga niya, or likelihood is nakuha nga niya, then the application, ang kailangan mong kumpletuhin is the form D11, but you need to add to that statement nga in support, okay? And any documents also supporting the fact that you say na nakuha nga niya, is more likely than not that he has been served. So he's just being uncooperative. No? Yun. So that's the form D11 now. Sometimes, so looking at the question nga again, no, sabi mo kasama nga dito, we've had no contact for almost 7 years. If that's the case, actually just no contact nga, hindi mo alam kung nasan siya, hindi mo din alam kung buhay pa nga siya, wala ka ng contact nga sa mga kaibigan nyo dati, o kaibigan niya, o mga magulang niya, no, kamag-anak nga niyan sa atin, then it's more likely that the form you need to complete, the application you need to complete is the form D13. Yun. So it's an application to dispense with service. So ibig sabihin, there's no point, sinasabi niyo sa korte, there's no point submitting this, serving him, because I can't find him. No? That is a harder application, actually, than the application for deemed service. Because you're saying to the court, I want to proceed even though he's not been served. I want to dispense with service. So I just don't know where he is. More likely than not, the court will want to know, what efforts have you made? Why have you not made any? Have you made contact with any of his family, for example? No. Have you made contact with any friends? Okay. Have you tried writing out to his last known address? If he went abroad, you have those details now. So that is a harder application, because you're essentially saying to the court, there's no point even trying, because we've I don't have any details for him, so I want to dispense with service. Okay, yun ang application. So the document you then need to submit is the other form. So let me just see if I can bring that form up to D13. Sandali ito. Yeah, ito po, no? So makikita nyo sa taas, statement in support of request to dispense with service of the divorce, okay, amongst other things on the respondent. Mahaba nga din to, and there's some useful guidelines actually on the right-hand side nga, some notes. Kailangan basahin yun, no? So you'll see it's quite long, and it's asking for where was the last known address nga niya, no? And any maintenance order, enforce all of those. So it's a bit more involved though. So, and there's a statement of truth. And for both documents nga, and any applications nga to the court, you are be careful, no? Dahil nga, if there's a statement of truth, and ibig sabihin, you're saying that whatever it is that you've signed, you've submitted nga are true, no? And if it's not true, then you can be prosecuted for that. And never mind, also the application will not go through. But if you've lied to the court, that of course it can be a criminal offense. No, so importante nga yun that you only submit documents that are of course correct. And any statement you make would be also honestly made, no? So if you have no contact nga with him, hindi mo nga alam kung buhay pa siya o hindi, then the application would be to dispense with service. So there's no point, hindi mo alam, no? Okay, but as I say, that's a harder application. But our reviewer, I think it's more likely than not that it's a D11, yun ang kailangan mong ipasok. But don't forget, kailangan hindi nga lang yung papasok mo, you need to submit also documents in support, mainly nga statement. You say what efforts have you made, no? To prove that indeed he received the documents. He's just being silly. He's being uncooperative, not necessarily silly, but he's being uncooperative nga. And if the court is then, you need to, if you've done it remotely, then you also need to upload that. When you've uploaded that, the court will then reply whether or not your application has been granted. Sometimes they say, not granted, we want you to make further efforts. And sometimes they make comments, try posting it, I've also had cases where the court have said, well, have you tried newspapers? No, I mean, put posting notice on a local newspaper na yung nga, no, that this petition. So that happens less nowadays. But so yun, it's I think sa'yo, yung our viewer nga, it's probably more likely the D11. Now, going back a little bit to question yung comment nga niya, no, sabi niya, I got married in the Philippines but have never been to the United Kingdom. That is a problem if I read it right, no? I think that's you probably mean, at least I hope nga, na nandito ka, so yung asawa mo has never been in the United Kingdom. But if you have never been to the United Kingdom, even though you may have some links here, no, then the court is unlikely to have any jurisdiction. So ibig sabihin, they can't deal with your divorce in the UK because you are neither probably habitually resident or domiciled in the United Kingdom. Okay, but I think that's probably just a typo. I think ibig mo siguro sabihin yung asawa mo he's never been in the United Kingdom, and that happens sometimes. Actually, not just sometimes. I see that often na kinasal nga kayo sa Pilipinas, for whatever reason hindi niyo siya makuha, hindi niyo siya kinuha nga dito, and then you always therefore live pretty much separately most of the time, no? And in this case, of course, 7 years minimum that you've been separated. I suspect it's probably longer nga than that. So to sum up nga, it's more likely than not na kailangan mo ipasok is the to complete is the form D11. That's application for deemed service with statement in support, with documents in support to show the court, to convince the court that indeed he has been more likely than not served with the documents. Yung nga lang, he's being uncooperative. Now, let's say you did that. No, naipasok nyo, and the court says, yeah, okay, no, we believe that he probably received the documents. and therefore now we're going to you can have your order, so an order for deemed service has been granted, or an order to dispense with service has been granted. What then happens? Then and only then can you take the next step, which is an application then for a conditional order. In the olden days, well, not so old, that's in pre-2022, it was called Decree 9. Ngayon tawag nga conditional order. They're really practically the same, really. Now and then after that, once you've had your conditional order, then you can apply for what's called a final order. When you have the final order, otherwise known previously as decree absolute, then and only then, can you remarry. You should not remarry before then, because if you do, then and you're still married, then that marriage is likely, the second marriage is likely to be void, or more likely than not. And then on top of that, it could be a criminal offense. Okay, so do not remarry before you get your final order. It doesn't matter. Now I've heard people also say, well, I got it the following week naman eh. No, doesn't matter. You must not remarry before you get the final order. The date on the final order is the date that you are free to remarry. Okay, so you're on. So I'm sorry if you're having this problem. It can be really confusing and sometimes depressing, especially now if you want to get on, with your life and you want to remarry in the UK. It can get a bit complex, and the courts, as I say, you have to convince them that talagang it's a proper order to be made. So you need to make your case that indeed he's received it, or you need to apply enough to dispense with service because for whatever reason you can't get hold of him anymore, and he's not maybe he's not even alive anymore, but nevertheless you're not sure. If you get a divorce in the United Kingdom, if you get a divorce in the United Kingdom and you follow the proper procedure, nandito ka nga, then of course that divorce will be valid in the United Kingdom and frankly valid everywhere else, but not the Philippines. Okay, in the Philippines there's no divorce, and Philippine law of course applies. So which means that sa atin, in order for that to be recognized, sometimes people can make an application for that decree to be recognized, recognition of decree nga. Or sometimes you need to issue annulment proceedings, which I know can be very long, lengthy process and also quite expensive. So if you have a way of using the divorce law in the United Kingdom, that's probably a better bet. And anyway, kung dito kayo nakatira, then then really this is the proper jurisdiction. So you're on. So hopefully that's of help to you. It's one of those one of those processes within divorce proceedings that can be a bit confusing and can be daunting, as I say. But hopefully that's helpful to you. And as I say, the form, there's also a kind of guidance that you can read. But sometimes it just gets so confusing. But look, you can also get advice, of course, on the forms themselves. Form a solicitor kung hindi nga kayo, if you're not sure. Okay, so you're on. But look, good luck. Hopefully you get that, because it's especially Christmas is a funny time for divorce proceedings often. Dahil mga tao nga sometimes they say, okay, next year, next year, nagagawin ako next year in relation to an unfortunate breakdown of relationship, or sometimes they want to do it now, so the next year, tapos na, so they have a fresh start. So it can go both ways nga, but it's a difficult. It's not a necessarily difficult process, but the things that go with it can be quite difficult. And also for a lot, it's painful. So look, good luck. Hopefully that's helpful to you. And as I say, in your case, I think it's the D11, rather than the other document. But don't forget, kailangan statement, okay? Statement. So and you have to prove to the court that your efforts are these. Okay. Now, so I hope that you found our topic now interesting, and it's one of those areas of law, as I say, that can be quite confusing. Now, we have other questions, many other questions nga. But before that, let's read our greetings, no? Batian tayo. And I say this all the time because it's true. It's my favorite part of the show. So, kung nanonood kayo and you're thinking, oh, maybe kakamustahin ko siya o hindi kaya, kamustahin niyo ako. A quick hello, right? So, let me just see who our greeters are. Hopefully, we have greeters. Oh, from Outcast. Done sharing this live. We like that. I do like that. Salamat po. Because you see, something like this, no, it may not be it may not be applicable to you. I hope not, because otherwise it means divorce proceedings nga. But it can be helpful to your friends. So salamat, ha? Salamat, Outcast, no? So yeah, if you think this is helpful nga to any of your friends or family, then share. Egay, the great guy from London. Okay? It's a very cold Thursday, sabi po niya to Attorney Lira and to the viewers. Work from home today with Justin now in McDonald's. Oh, looking forward to lots of learning again to Attorney Lira's lovely voice. Egay, the guy. He's so modest. He's actually Egay, the great guy, because he is. Justin is his lovely, lovely son. He's a committed dad. He's a devoted dad. Who's always he's so loyal nga to us, no? Sometimes previous shows he's on holiday and he's watching us. So salamat, Egay. Hopefully you're well, no? Lenny Heraldizo. Hi po, good evening, Lenny. Are you well? No, lovely photo you have. Hopefully you're inside keeping warm. Today I've had so many coffees, so many. I can't even count it. I'm wired. Miss Acerada, Arlene Acerada, no? Good evening po, Attorney Lira. Kamusta, Arlene? Are you well? You're inside, I hope, having a cup of tea. Have you had dinner? I haven't had dinner. Kumain na kayo? I have not had dinner, and I hope to have dinner nga later on. Oh, si May! Kamusta, May? May Tigbaubarkas. Hello and good evening, sabi po niya, Attorney Lira, and all the viewers watching from Exeter, Devon, no? Advance Merry Christmas to everyone. God bless. To you too, May. I mean, I hope that you are you're well. And I don't know if we're going to get snow, but if we get snow, Devon would be beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful anyway, especially in summertime. I can imagine Exeter, especially with a bit of snow, because of course it's a historical place, no, Exeter. So you're so lucky. Oh, so Miss Jones, Marilyn Jones. Good evening, Attorney Lira, sabi niya, and all viewers. Hope everyone's well and warm. Oh, you're so right, no, Miss Jones. Miss Jones, I always say she's such a great dancer, no, Miss Jones. Don't ask me how I know that, but yeah, she's. I hope you inside and warm. Oh, si Ma'am Cora. We love Ma'am Cora, no? Ma'am Cora Carsola. Good evening, pretty Attorney Lira, at sa lahat na sumusubaybay, no? The very informative program on immigration laws. Oh, love Ma'am Cora Carsola. She is, Ma'am Cora, I've had the pleasure of meeting. No, she is lovely. She really is. She's quite a pioneer, actually, no, Ma'am Cora. So hopefully you're inside, Ma'am Cora. And not actually kanina kung bumalik nga ako, it's sabi Ma'am Cora, I mean, on a bus going home, drizzly and cold. Oh, I'm sorry, Ma'am Cora. My love and prayers to you all. Saan man kayo this special hour with our dear Attorney Lira. Tignan nyo, we love Ma'am Cora because she's traveling and she's messaging us, no? Hopefully you get home soon, no, Ma'am Cora, and safely. Dahil tama ka, kanina, nung umuwi nga ako, umuulan. It was drizzly. They have different types. I've noticed, just because I've been here so long, they have different types of rain, no? And most of the time, it seemed to be the drizzle, not so much nga the hard rain. Sa Pilipinas, if you there's the hard rain, no, the lucky, no, the drops are massive, that gives you a headache. Dito, it's mainly napapansin ko, mainly kind of drizzly rain. Anyway, I think I've been here a long time. So I noticed the types of rain. So, si May Tingbaw, no, Vargas, we got snow last November, 2 days only. Talaga? Oh, you must send me a photo, no, May? I have not seen snow in the UK for, siguro, five, 5 years, no? 5 years? Tatandaan niyo ba when last it snowed in London? Um, but Exeter must be beautiful when there's a kind of dusting of snow because it's beautiful. Exeter generally, it's historical city, of course, no. So it's yeah, no. It's in London, in Richmond, especially because we're not far from the park. The 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 time I remember was there was so much snow nga, that you could even build snowman, no, in the park. So that was lovely. That was really, really lovely. Anyway, so I digress. I digress. Now we have lots of other questions, so I shouldn't go on too much. So let me just see if we can go through the questions because they are big questions also. So let me just see if I can find them. Oh, si Ganko Tokeegay, no? Attorney Lira, question please. Kinasal sa UK, okay, kailangan both Philippines-born silang dalawa. Then ni-report sa Philippine Embassy sa London. After how many years gusto mag-divorce sa UK? How about in the Philippines? Need pa lang ba, oh, maanal. I tell you what, thanks for this, no, Egay, that tama ka. So, kinasal sila, so kinasal nga sila sa UK. So, of course, the UK courts will have jurisdiction siguro dito sila nakatira. So they are what's called habitually resident, at least in the UK. More likely, they're also domiciled in the United Kingdom. Both of them, even, no. So they can petition for divorce in the UK, and they can get a divorce now in the UK, and then of course it's been reported as usually is the process now to the Philippine Embassy. But unfortunately, there's no divorce sa atin, no, and the marriage in the United Kingdom, of course, would also be valid in the Philippines. Now, in the Philippines, of course, there's no divorce nga, but they may not actually need to necessarily worry about that because they will probably say, okay, even though they're Filipino citizen, no, at least one point Filipino citizen, they're likely to be treated as essentially it's a foreign marriage and foreign divorce. So so they can divorce in the UK as soon as they've been married over 1 year. Okay, guys. So good luck. Hopefully, pero sa Pilipinas, because they were not married in the Philippines, I don't even think you need to worry about annulment nga in the Philippines, because it's a foreign marriage. It's only when you marry in the Philippines that the annulment will be required. Okay. So now, okay, so I have some more questions. Let's talk about. I'm not sure how to begin. Okay. But here's my situation. My partner brought me to the UK illegally in 2017. I claimed asylum, but my application was refused. We then applied for partnership visa, but that was also refused. Currently, I'm required to report to the police station twice a month. I'm uncertain about what options I have left, and I urgently need advice. Thank you. Sabi niya. Wow, that's difficult, no? So I'm so sorry that you've had this issue since 2017. Right? It's a long while to be in this position. Now, okay, so you made an application for asylum. Application was refused. You then made an application for partnership visa. So ibig sabihin, hindi nga kayo kasal. So you're probably saying that you've been in a relationship like a marriage, a minimum of 2 years. But that also was refused. More likely than not, it was probably refused on based on the fact that it's not, you don't have what they call exceptional circumstances. You will not be, you can pursue a family life elsewhere. So kung nasa Pilipinas nga, that you can go to the Philippines and pursue a family life nga in the Philippines, for example. Options. So unang-una nga, if there are new matters, so ibig sabihin nga, matters that in the past, issues that have not been raised with the Home Office before, then potentially you can make another application based on, say, private life, family life. So that would be things like nga, so dumating ka nga, kadadating mo nga lang dito 2017, which means that you've not yet been in the UK the 20 years that you could possibly rely on long residence route. Now, it could be, kung may sakit nga siya, sabihin natin, kasakit nga siya, yung partner mo, maybe that's a new matter. In the absence of, so if that's indeed the case, then you could potentially make a new application on the basis that you can say, well, this is a new application because of new matters that did not exist now before, for example. No? Now, if that's the case, then you can make a new application. If nothing has really changed, then you potentially would have had a right of appeal. I don't know why you did not exercise that right of appeal. It's a right of appeal is not an automatic right. Normally, it is given where there's a human rights aspect now. So family life arguments, for example, this is the potential of now of appeal, but it doesn't have to be. They can still certify it to be unfounded. So ibig sabihin is that there's no real prospect of success. That's why they're not giving you appeal. Now you can challenge it if you're not provided with a right of appeal, but it could be that you pass the challenge time. You normally should challenge within 3 months of the decision not being made. So the decision refusing the application and refusing the right of appeal. Now let's say na that's passed, no? Ngayon, ang nangyayari nga lang you're reporting to police station nga twice a month. That's actually quite that's quite cumbersome. Twice a month. Now, another option available to you is sabihin natin you may actually satisfy an application to come back into the United Kingdom. So let's look at that. So kung yung partner mo nandito nga siya, he has leave to remain, indefinite leave to remain, o kaya British nga siya dito. Ang sweldo niya is now no less than £29,000 before tax, or he has savings to show, and there's also accommodation, let's say, and the relationship is genuine, and you can show that you've been in a relationship like a marriage a minimum of 2 years, even though you're not married. And kung galing ka nga sa Pilipinas, you need to provide a negative tuberculosis certificate and also English language, which is a minimum of A1. If you think you can satisfy all those, then you can go back potentially and come back in on that basis. But beware, any background is of course relevant. No? The Home Office will likely be very concerned with entry, because sabi mo nga dito, illegal entry ka nga in 2017, and then you applied for asylum, which was probably not warranted, because if you're from the Philippines, and then of course you had a refusal uli, so patong-patong ang problema. No? So you just need to be careful that because they can refuse entry from the Philippines to back into the UK on grounds that your presence in the UK is not conducive to public good. But if the application is on the basis of this partnership, you should not really be banned from coming back into the United Kingdom. But that would be the concern for me, if I'm advising you, in that is, are they likely or not exercise their ban you from the United Kingdom? They should not. No? But it could be that they do. The minimum ban is 12 months. It can go up beyond that, where you're found to have made, say, false declarations. So be careful. Ang payo ko, before doing anything, and certainly before leaving the country to go abroad to pursue an application to come back into the United Kingdom, ang payo ko, see a solicitor. There are quite a few scenarios where I would say, before doing anything, see a solicitor. This is one of them, okay? Because the background is quite complex, and you should also see, okay, are these which of the options, the limited options available, may have a better chance of success, and to maximize your chance of success, what documents should you prepare? No? And in this case, tip ko, importante, kung sino mang magpapasok para sa inyo, you should really prepare good statements, para mga affidavit, not bank statements, but that's also going to be useful, but good statements explaining yung background and why it is that's important for you to be able to come back to the UK. So it could be things, as I say, na kung meron siyang mga anak nga dito, no? And o yung partner mo, ibig sabihin, o kaya may sakit siya, kailangan nandito nga siya. So things like that may be arguable facts that you should mention also to the Home Office when you're looking to come back. But it's quite complex case. Payo ko, you should really seek advice. No, make sure you put all your documents together when you see a solicitor like me, because it's very helpful. So nandun yung mga papeles nyo, Home Office letters, any refusals, importante po yun. Now, I'm sure we have some more questions. Sorry I took so long with that one, because that's quite a difficult one. This one I like, because this is just a question that question nga to, is fixed penalties. Okay, so a question po niya: I was approached by someone claiming to be an environmental officer, regarding cigarette butt littering. Okay? I was in a hurry to catch a bus, and he asked for my ID. I briefly showed it to him, and then he asked for my name to put in his device. I gave him a false name. Oh, you should never do that, because I wasn't sure if he was legitimate. Okay. Later, I realized he was indeed a legitimate officer after I got the bus. My dilemma now is whether I should pay the fine or not. Okay. I'm unsure if he had a body camera, or if he captured my ID in his camera. That's the main question I have. So to pay the fine or not. Now, let me just read to you. Actually, this is something to do with fixed penalties. Okay, so sabi nga dito, fixed penalties can provide enforcing authorities with effective and visible way of responding to environmental crimes. No, so sabi nga dito, so I'll skip this is quite long, so I'll skip that bit. So since so sabi dito, failure to follow up. So failure. So if you don't pay, the guidance actually say to the environmental officer, failure to follow up on unpaid fixed penalty notices will undermine their effectiveness as an enforcement tool. Therefore, the authority must ensure it collects sufficient evidence which can be used in court, is reliable and credible. So, kung hindi ka magbabayad, they will follow it up. So, ang payo ko, given that if you're not disputing that actually you did litter, probably best to pay it, because otherwise, lalong lalala ang problema. The issue also, of course, of failing to provide the correct information is already a problem. You don't want to make the problem even worse. So, payo ko, pay it as soon as you can. Okay? Now, and I think meron pa tayong mga question, no? Let me just see. This one is, ito. Short and sweet, but it's a good question again. Question po nila, can we petition for our siblings, mga kapatid nila, if we are already British citizens? If yes, how does the process work? And what are the requirements? I get this question asked a lot. Hindi lang mga kapatid, but also aunts, uncles, cousins, mga pinsan nga. It's a problem. Kahit British na nga kayo, yung mga kapatid nyo, they will be assessed kung gusto silang kunin to live with you as dependents, then the route will likely be the adult dependent route. Problema po yun. That route is really for those people who may sakit nga sila sa atin, wala namang nag-aalaga sa atin, kailangan pumunta dito, kayo nga lang pwedeng mag-alaga nga sa kanila. That's the adult dependent route. The fact that you are siblings or cousins, does not unfortunately allow you to petition for them to enter the United Kingdom as your dependents. Now, of course, they can maybe enter the UK to visit you, pero visa nga lang. So maximum nga 6 months. O kung gusto na mag-aral nga dito, and you can support them, then potentially to study. But you can't simply apply for them to enter the United Kingdom successfully, as your dependents. So unfortunately not. So the adult dependent route does not extend as far as that. Actually, it hasn't really. I've been doing this a long time. I don't actually remember that it's ever extended that far. So adult dependent route, I can't see would also apply. But they can come visit. Okay. Now, ayaw ko meron pa tayong mga questions. Tingnan nga natin dito. Maybe, it could be that may be the last question nga. Let me just double check. Because I just like missing questions. Because you're so kind nga to to take the time and post a question to me. So let me just have a look kung meron pa. Okay, now could be, yeah. Okay, so we don't have any more questions. Now, look, salamat po for keeping me company tonight on our usual Thursday evening. Ang lamig pa nga. So I hope that you stay warm, and I hope that your Christmas preparation is better than mine. You please update me on your Christmas preparation, and update me nga next week. So kung meron kayong mga questions, gusto nyo mangumusta nga lang, please make sure that you do, post the questions nga. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. So just leaves me really to say salamat po to you all for making the effort nga, saying hello, tuning in, whether on the bus, on your way back from work, in McDonald's with your son. Salamat, Egay, So thank you very much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I hope that you can join me again next week at Lira and Law, same time, same place. Good night.